No one expected the past to walk into that courtroom chained and quiet. It was supposed to be just another day in Montgomery County, until the door creaked open and in shuffled an old man with silver hair, stooped shoulders, and hands that looked like they'd built and broken 1,000 things. The orange jumpsuit didn't match the weight in his eyes. Most thought he was another down-on-his-luck drifter who'd mouthed off or wandered into the wrong diner. Then the silence cracked. Because when General Matthew Reynolds stepped in moments later, chest full of ribbons, expression carved from stone, the air shifted. The room went from bored to breathless. Nobody knew why a 4-star general would walk into a minor courtroom in Alabama. Not yet, but they were about to find out. And it started with a name: Elijah Rowe. To understand why the world suddenly cared about a man they'd ignored for decades, you had to go back, just a day earlier, when Elijah was under the hood of a rusted-out Chevy, sweat rolling down his neck. In the heat, he was the guy the neighborhood knew as Ghost. Fixed things without asking for money. Never talked much, never took credit. People like Elijah disappear in plain sight until the world decides to notice. And sometimes, it notices too late. That evening, at the only diner that still served coffee past 9, trouble followed him in. Drunk, loud, angry, looking for a target, decided Elijah's calm silence was an invitation. He shoved the old man once, then again. Elijah just stood there, still and steady, offering kindness in the form of a half-eaten sandwich. "Take it," he said. But kindness isn't always armor. Officer Banks arrived just in time to get it wrong, the kind of cop who already knew what he wanted to see. No questions, no listening, just a man in fatigues and skin that wasn't pale enough. And when Elijah said, quiet as ever, "You don't want to do this," Banks heard a challenge, a moment. Later, the floor met Elijah's face. The camera phones blinked. The internet started watching. Then everything unraveled, because the system tried to process Elijah Rowe like just another name, until it couldn't. An alert screamed from the Department of Defense. "Federal hold, emergency tag." The deputy laughed it off, thought it was some error. But Detective J.D., the only black officer in the room, saw the name and went cold. The file was redacted top to bottom. The kind of clearance that whispers secrets no one wants unearthed. Hours away, Maya Rowe got a message that cracked the life she'd built apart from her father. They got the ghost. She dropped her phone, picked up her keys, because before she was an award-winning journalist, she was a daughter with 1,000 questions, and now maybe finally she'd get answers. While Maya zipped her bag in a silent apartment bathed in early morning light, miles away, District Attorney Leah Tran was replaying body cam footage in disbelief. What unfolded on screen wasn't aggression, wasn't chaos, just a composed, older black man quietly repeating, "You don't want to do this." No threats, no escalation, just restraint. Yet the official report told a very different story. Violence, hostility, resistance, and now Leah was being pressured, fast and hard, to bury it all, but the fingerprints they ran didn't belong to a nobody. Elijah Rowe triggered a full-blown Pentagon lockdown. Inside secure bunkers, analysts yelled over each other. General Whitmore ordered an immediate intelligence sweep. Somewhere deep in the room, a veteran operative said grimly, "We should have erased him when we had the chance." Another murmured, "If Black Echo surfaces, we're all done." Elijah's name wasn't just a file. It was a legend, a myth, a classified whisper in old war rooms. A sniper so lethal he'd once been called the ghost who never missed. They thought he was long gone. But ghosts, it turns out, don't fade. They wait. Maya, oblivious to the storm gathering in Washington, arrived in town, credentials in hand, determined to understand why her estranged father had been arrested. When she walked into the sheriff's office and mentioned Elijah Rowe, the air shifted. The deputy went pale. No one gave answers, so Maya pressed harder. At the same time, Detective J.D. unearthed an old connection. One of Eli's former squad mates, now a mechanic with a limp and eyes that hadn't slept in years. He heard Eli's name and said only one thing. "If he's who I think, you've just awakened something you'll never be able to put back to sleep." The deeper Maya dug, the louder the whispers got. At the Pentagon, Whitmore demanded truth but was met with roadblocks, the kind that signaled orders from someone above his pay grade. Retirement was suggested, forcefully. Behind it all, Colonel Klein, architect of Black Echo, manipulator of the press, commander of shadows. His mission was clear: eliminate Elijah's existence without ever firing a bullet. Maya wasn't backing off. She found Mark Willis, an ex-Marine with a tremor in his hand and a photo of children in his wallet. Children Elijah saved. Operation Black Echo, he told her, wasn't about stopping a warlord. It was about cleaning up a test site for ethnic weapons. Elijah had refused the order, had saved 47 lives, and they buried him for it. Her story hit the web like wildfire. Protests ignited. The jail where Elijah was held became a flashpoint. A man posing as a public defender tried to poison him. Eli returned the favor with a shattered wrist and 5 chilling words. Next time, send someone better. General Whitmore, against every protocol, handed D.A. Tran a folder. Photos, flight logs, audio files, classified proof that Black Echo was a war crime and Eli its only living witness. J.D. discovered footage, unedited, time-stamped, clearly showing Elijah never resisted arrest. Officer Banks had lied. Things spiraled. Maya's hacker ex, Luke, breached a shadow database. Inside, raw, unfiltered evidence. Genocidal bioweapons tested on foreign populations. Not just immoral, criminal, and they expected Elijah to carry it out. By the time the court hearing arrived, the courthouse looked like a military outpost. Armed guards, media trucks, protesters screaming for justice. Prosecutors called Eli mentally unfit. Maya stood and waved classified documents. The judge moved to eject her. Then Whitmore walked in, decorated, defiant, and demanded to speak. On record, under oath. He exposed everything. The orders, the cover-up, the silence forced on good men. The courtroom sat in stunned stillness. Then, relief. Charges dropped. Eli was free, but only for a moment. Before Maya could even hug him, federal agents appeared with new charges, espionage. He was dragged out in cuffs as cameras flashed. The people screamed, the nation watched. And suddenly, this wasn't just one man's case. It was America's reckoning. Eli was taken to station. Gray, a black site prison scrubbed from every database. He was drugged, interrogated, kept awake for days. But in the dark, he scratched something into the wall with a stolen spoon. Coordinates, a location no one wanted found. Maya, J.D., and Zuri, a coding genius with a rebellious streak, joined forces. They tracked every movement Klein made, every asset, every shadow. An execution order was blocked with a last-second injunction. Mercer, a federal agent assigned to the case, flipped sides when she saw the evidence and risked her career to smuggle out Eli's location. The rescue was cinematic. Klein's mercenaries held J.D. in a warehouse, beaten and barely conscious. Eli, Whitmore, and a handful of loyalists raided the site like they were back in combat. No hesitation, no mercy. Klein's empire collapsed in under 10 minutes. The evidence they uncovered couldn't be denied. Weapon serial numbers, signed orders, satellite data. Congress had no choice but to open a war crimes tribunal. Amari, once a little girl spared. In Sierra Leone by Elijah's disobedience, now a human rights lawyer, testified. So did Whitmore. And Maya Elijah stood last. He didn't speak with anger. He didn't ask for pity, just the truth. He talked about duty, about the weight of doing what's right when the world punishes you for it. Klein broke down on the stand, ranting about national security and necessary evils, but no one clapped for him. Elijah Rowe was finally exonerated, pardoned, and documented as the hero they tried so hard to erase. Maya's investigation won global awards. Their foundation now fought for other buried veterans. Mercer left the agency and joined them. Klein rotted in a cell, his legacy reduced to footnotes and shame. Eli never went on talk shows, never gave interviews. He returned to his town, fixed. An old woman's broken heater, helped local kids with job applications, sat quietly at the PTSD clinic. Occasionally, he'd leave a medal on a bench, with a note, "It's your turn to speak." In Maya's office, above the door, hung a photo. Her, Eli, Amari, and a smiling boy outside a new school in Sierra Leone. Below it, carved in wood, his final message. They tried to erase the truth. But the truth knows how to survive. And now the question is yours. Would you have believed him? Would you have stayed silent? Or would you have stood up, loud, defiant, and unafraid? Let us know below, because stories like this don't fade. They wait for someone to listen.